Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I am in the laboratory in Southwest Florida. I'm going to take some of these guys home to my home nursery. Before I get going though, I want to again share with you the opportunity if you're interested in becoming a member of my channel. As a member, there's a fee associated with it, but as a member you have access to some additional information. There's some behind the scene type videos. Today is going to be a little bit informal what I'm going to share with you today, and that's more along the lines of what I share with my members videos. So I have members only videos, I have members early access videos, and again I just share a little bit more information. So if you're interested in joining, that would be fine. If you just like my regular content, that'll keep on coming, and I'm happy to continue sharing that with you. Today I am bringing these guys home to my home nursery, and that's because I'm going to be leaving for a couple of months, for a long time. And so I'll have some videos that I will be able to post, but it's going to slow down a little bit for that period of time. And because I won't be here, these guys I don't think are going to do well if I just let them sit in the laboratory. So I'm going to bring them home to my home nursery. They get irrigated 3 days a week. They're not going to get fertilized. They have time-release fertilizer, but they're not going to have anyone looking at them daily, which is what I tend to do. But what I want to do is share with you some of the characteristics of these plants and these seedlings. When I do this, I like watching these. So every week these guys are watered or treated in some way, and I'm going to miss that. But what happens when I do this is that I can see what's going on. Some of these things, what happens is I have a helper in the laboratory, and she's a great help, but I don't get to visit with these guys every day, so I don't see some things. And I was looking at these seedlings today as I was ready to take them home, and I made what I think are some important observations, and those I would like to share with you, and that may impact you depending on if you do this type of stuff. So as we take a look at this first one, and these seedlings, I should say, look great. So this is a new hybrid that is called Corn Nugget, which is a hybrid between Cornelia calipana and Fuchs Orange Nugget. And the plants are just growing really well. These were deflasked a little over 2 months ago. So this one grew into the flask. This plant grew into the pot next to it, and you can see it grabbed some of the orchiata bark that was in that pot, and this one I'll have to pull them apart later. So these to attach, there's a new pseudobulb coming out of this one. So the growth on these things is just incredible. And as you look down at these things, you can see incredible new root growth from these plants that I planted up. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that I have the helper in my laboratory who did these. She's very compassionate, and she likes to make compots or composite pots of a bunch of seedlings together, because there's so many. I don't want to pot up each individual one. And so what happens is with the compots, you can see that the plants are growing, but because these plants are they're next to each other and they're so crowded, and I see this when the plants are in the flask, you don't get as much growth. Some people love compotes. Some people, that's what they do, is they instead of flasking or deflasking individual plants, they put all of their plants together. I don't like doing that for a few reasons. Number one, and what's clear here, is that you get crowding. And when there's crowding like this, you're not going to get as much growth. The other thing is that you do need to separate these plants that are in the compote eventually. So I prefer to do it when they're young, when you're separating the plants from the flask in the beginning. You might as well just separate them all anyway, because you're going to have to tear these things apart, and the roots are going to become really intertwined. You're going to have to do that eventually. So I like doing it initially and not messing with making these the compost. So, but that's the thing that I wanted to share with you from in this container. And I think on this container, this is another new hybrid that I have, and I've got, and this thing is again growing. The roots are just incredibly, they're growing out from one. I mean, you know, it's going to be hard to separate these just because the roots grow out of the top of the plant, and they grow. So these three are kind of grown together. So this plant grew into this pot. Got to see what, yeah, the middle plant grew into the left there. Okay, we'll separate that. But this is, I don't know if you can tell, this is new growth that's happened over 2.5 months. But, you know, really nice new growth on these seedlings. And I'll have to, again, kind of, wow. Okay, I'm getting it apart. Okay, so again, this is new growth out of this, grew into this pot, and there's just incredible growth on these seedlings. Now, when I take these out and put them in my orchid nursery, those roots that kind of grew out, they'll either find a new home, or they're probably not going to do well. But again, it's the same type of thing here. I've got one composite plant that's in here, and you know, or composite compot that's here, and you can see there's a little crowding, so there's not as much growth that you get from the compot compared to the individual growth where there's no crowding and you get this expansion. All right, and there are some smaller, I do have small plants that are in here that are growing nice roots, so you get a combination of different things that are going on. One of the things, the last thing, I think it's in this last container that it is I'm so excited about. These plants are growing just incredibly well. So this is again a new hybrid that I named Drummer Girl, and this is a cross between Greenvale Dressy, which is one of my favorite orchids, just in smaller, medium-sized green, very fragrant. The fragrance on Greenvale is my favorite part of the plant. And then I cross it on Orchid's Classic, and the cultivar is Robert. And what I was surprised to see on two at least, there's more. On 3, maybe more. Maybe I'll find more of it. But I'm seeing a lot of spotting on the leaves. So I looked up online spotting on leaves and orchids, and the first 50 hits were all fungal pathogens or bacterial pests or something like this. These just came out of these. That's not what these have. This is spotting that is likely going to end up in the flowers. So I think that the ancestors, and I looked it up, I think a Clandii is in here, maybe at a few other spotted flower cats. So you can see some spotting in the leaves before you see the spots in the in the flowers. Now I do have a Cattleya lueddemanniana that also has spots on the, typically you see spots on the leaves. It's not diseased, it's just what you have. So I'm just curious if you want to put in the comments how often and what kind of orchids where spotting in the leaf, Cattleyas, what spotting in the leaves is pretty common. I'd really like to hear about that. I think again, this may be an indicator of spotted flowers, but that's not necessarily the case. But you know, really incredible growth on Drummer Girl here, and I'm really excited to be able to take these home, and hopefully they'll all be in great shape when I get back. All right, that's all I wanted to share with you. I just had a few points that I wanted to share with you today about my orchid seedlings, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.